After you, James.
My name's James. I'm 32 years old. Grew up in Cambridge. I went to university at Leeds. After university, I travelled around Australia on a gap year where I really got the bug for adventure and travelling around. After that, I joined flight school. I was sponsored by an airline and I've always wanted to be a pilot, so I was lucky enough to pursue that dream. Became a pilot, and that's where I met my best friend Dom, and we both sort of went down the adventure path together.
Well, thanks, James. So my individual background was decidedly quite unremarkable, particularly with regards to venture. I wasn't particularly outdoorsy as a kid. I went to university, I studied business studies, and about sort of a year and a half into the degree, I sort of started to think, am I going to spend my life just chasing the pursuit of money, the pursuit of profit? So I immediately dropped out, joined the military. Still hated being outdoors. I was in the Air Force and we'd be cold, wet, tired, and I think, I played squash, so I was always doing my sports in an indoor heated room, and all of a sudden I was outside, I was wet, I was muddy, I was tired, and I thought, not sure about this. But after leaving the military, I then started moving around, started doing a little bit of camping and stuff, and almost immediately sort of got the bug, and ever since then James and I met at flight school, and we've been doing any adventure we can, big and small, so it's good fun. So ZIA, or Zero Impact Adventures, it was initially born out of the kind of quest. James and I always called it the big one. So when we met at flight school, we were obviously really busy studying and stuff, so we'd spend a lot of weekends going out caving, climbing, camping, go to the beach and that sort of thing. But we always thought, one day if we get the chance, we'll do the quote big one. And we didn't really know what the big one meant at the time, but it was a nice sort of future dream, big expedition, something like that. So when we moved across into our jobs and we realised we could try and sort of put a chunk of time together off, we started to define what that might mean to us, what was a big adventure for us. And we thought, well, we've done adventures, we've done climbing, we've done caving, we've done all those sorts of things, but something that we've always had kind of inherently inside us was that need to explore, or that desire to explore at least. So, and the exploration in its rawest form is going somewhere where nobody has been before, so we started going with that theme, and we thought, okay, so where have people not gone before? And the obvious ones are, there's lots of caving underground, and we do like caving, and then there's lots of mountains all over the world that still haven't been climbed for various reasons. And I'm a snowboarder, so I was quite keen to push for that. Maybe we could go and turn it into a snow kind of route. So that was the idea of climbing first summits, and that's where the first summit expedition was born.
And we'd always wanted to do something Arctic as well. I mean, ever since I was 17, 18, I've always been really interested in the Arctic. Did a Norway Arctic expedition, did a training weekend when I was 18, 19 up in Tromsø in northern Norway. So I always got the bug for sleeping out in the snow and doing something polar. So when I spoke to Tom about our big adventure, we sort of thought, well, how about Greenland? It's pretty unexplored, really, really remote. It's not sort of going North Pole or South Pole, and there are some mountains in there, so it ticked all our boxes.
So the kind of, there's two sides to the ZIA really. It was born out of that quest for adventure, and we'd done so many trips together, we said, let's go adventuring. And then, I don't know if it's part of growing older as well, you start to question the why of something, or the meaning or the purpose, and is it just because you want to stand at the top of a mountain? And through one previous expedition we'd done, it was our first opportunity where we'd done something that was, or we felt worthy enough of going into schools, talking to kids, encouraging them to go out or raise money for charity. And having done that expedition, but then having afterwards gone and done tours, particularly in schools to be honest, the sort of meaning and the lasting joy often came from the people that we got to meet afterwards when we were talking about things or encouraging people, engaging people, going, oh look, these are just normal guys who are having a go at it. So born from the need or the quest for adventure, but then Zero Impact Adventures as a campaign was very much, how can we leverage what we're doing as an expedition to create the most good for something we care about? And that's how we ended up on environmentalism, and it's about 2 years later and we've learned a lot along the way, so it's been good fun so far. I haven't even gone on the expedition.
So Hamish is our third expedition member. He's a professional photographer and filmmaker. He's collaborated with loads of amazing brands and companies. So when we decided we were going to go to Greenland, we talked about how we wanted to document the whole thing. We realised that the best way of getting our message across of what we're doing is to produce a documentary, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, about the climate struggle and the climate crisis. And so when we needed a film guy, we looked online for all sorts of filmmakers, photographers, videographers, and we had Skype chats with a few of them, emailed with a few of them, but a lot of them, they couldn't get the time off for 6 weeks to come with us on an expedition. Even if it was fully funded by ourselves, they wouldn't be able to get the time to come with us. So I was looking through my Facebook feed one day and I started seeing some pictures from this guy called Hamish Frost. I went to school with Hamish, and I wouldn't say that we stayed in touch, we weren't close friends for the last 10 years, but he was one of these sort of distant acquaintances on your Facebook friend list. And I kept seeing these pictures over the weeks as I was getting more and more interested in him. So obviously the algorithm showed more of that person. I kept seeing more of Hamish's pictures, like this is amazing. So then I went to his website, hamishfrost.com, saw more of his incredible work, reached out to him, tried to get back in touch because obviously I've not spoken to him really for about 9 or 10 years since school. And he said, yeah, that's incredible, I'd love to come with you to Greenland. I'm not that busy during the March to the May period of time because most of his work is collaborating with brands through winter in Scotland and the Alps, and he's been to the Himalayas and he's been to Antarctica with all sorts of brands. So when we reached out to him and said, do you want to come with us for 6 weeks in Greenland, it's perfect timing for him. Obviously I had the connection as well, we knew he wasn't absolutely crazy because I'd been to school with him, and so he sort of jumped on the bandwagon straight away. And when we had a Skype call, the three of us, Tom's never met him still, and immediately we all bonded on the phone as if we were all best friends. I was like, wow, he's such a perfect fit for the expedition.
Which I think is really, really important because the initial side was, oh my god, look how good this guy's photography is, and some of the video stuff he's done in Scotland with skiing for just kind of shows him as a professional. But we talked to a number of professional filmmakers, photographers and so on, and we'd had good Skype conversations with them, obviously nice people, obviously very professional, and we'd enjoyed the conversations. And then so we were kind of working on a short list of, oh, maybe this photographer, if he can get the time here, or maybe them there. But Hamish came on quite organically, as James has explained, and then we had that phone call, and you sometimes get that feeling. James and I have been cold, wet, tired and sleepy and annoyed with each other before so many times, but talking to Hamish for an hour, we sort of went, this is the guy for the trip. It's not just that you happen to know him from school and through synchronicity or the universe or whatever, it's lined up to put Hamish in a seat. It was like, we have to take this guy because he's just a perfect match. But yeah, I haven't met him, so ask me again after the expedition.
So we've both been caving together and loads of rock climbing trips, things like that, and camping all around the world. I did the Marathon des Sables, which is one of my biggest achievements, I guess, in 2014. When I signed up to that, for anyone who doesn't know, it's 6 marathons through the Sahara Desert, carrying all your food and equipment with you. It's 5 days of running, 6 days in total, so you have a double marathon on day 4. And it's all through the Sahara Desert and the sand, so sort of 40 degrees. It's pretty tricky, and when I signed up to it, I'd never done a marathon before in my life. The furthest I'd run was about 18, 19 miles. And I thought, okay, if I sign up for this, I'm really going to get fit and get into running. So I signed up for it, posted on Facebook, someone wanted to run the Marathon des Sables with me. One of my running friends called Max, he commented saying, are you serious? About 10 minutes later, if yes, then sure, I'll come with you. So once you get someone else on board, it's a lot harder to back out, isn't it? So you had one of my best buddies saying, sure, I'll do it with you. And I was like, okay, wow, I need to actually seriously get into the training now. So I did a few marathons in the build-up. It's about 18 months from when you sign up and you actually go and do the race. I tried to do an ultra, the South Downs Way, which is 66 miles over 2 days, 33 and 33. I finished the first day, but the second day, got a really bad injury, tendonitis down my right-hand side about 5 miles in, so I had to stop. This was 4 months before the Marathon des Sables actually started. Like, okay, I've got 4 months to try and get over this tendonitis, anterior tibialis tendonitis. So I had physio, acupuncture, anything I could to try and get it fixed. I had insoles for my shoes and used a foam roll all the time to get it out. Thankfully, with a lot of physio and practicing, like stretching it out, I managed to get it into the start line. Came in the top 300 places for Marathon des Sables, so I did fairly good for someone who'd never really run an ultra before in my life. But I'd maybe run 3 marathons in total before running the Marathon des Sables. 52 miles on day 4 was the most I'd ever run, and it was just all mind over matter, pushing myself through it. And me and Max, we both got through the finish line together, and that's definitely my biggest achievement.
Can I add, it's quite fun, so he came in the top 300th, but he came 290th.
280th.
And see, you do that, you tell a place that's a lot worse than it was, and then he corrects you to where he actually came.
Yeah, 280.
That's legit. The first time I've ever found out he's failed at any race. You've never said that you did that. I've been his best friend for 6 years, and I've never known that you didn't finish something.
Wow. It's always mind over matter, usually things I find at least. I mean, most marathons, if you take it slow enough, you can walk it or trundle it off, even with a bit of an injury. But this time, there's so much pain, I couldn't do another 26 miles on day 2.
The things you learn about your best friend.
I maybe could have done it, but then I'd have been so much pain, I wouldn't have been able to probably cause more damage than good. What have you achieved?
An expedition that I did before was just before flight school. I rode a bike from Lima in Peru to Santiago in Chile, and that meant pretty much the whole length of Peru, all the way through Bolivia, north to south, a big chunk of Argentina and then across to Chile. So that was about 3,000 miles in 3 months. And before that trip, I had never set up a tent by myself. It was a real plunge. Because as I said before, like, I didn't come from an adventurous background. We didn't camp when we were kids. Being outdoors in the military was consistently spoiled by people shouting at you, as it's the military. So that first day leaving leaving Lima, still in Peru, and just trying to set up a tent like an idiot with the map out like this in the middle of nowhere. But after 3 months of it, got really used to it, and that's when I finished that, came to flight school, met James, and I thought I might never be able to do 3 months of adventure ever again because it just happened to be a gap between jobs. But I thought I can still get that buzz from camping and being out in nature. You can do that in one night. Me and my fiance, we go out all the time and just go for a camp just for the night. So that was, for me, that was quite cool, and it was fun to get the 3,000 miles. It was fun to. There was over a week where I never saw another person. And it doesn't take long of cycling and being by yourself to sort of get into your own head and learn some interesting lessons about yourself as you go and connect with nature and meet some wonderful local people as well. So that was a really good, really exciting sort of solo expedition, which sort of leads neatly into the main one that James and I have done together. So far as we did a world record, an endurance cycling record, and it seems like we're cyclists because we mentioned cycling art, but we don't really
We're not
ride,
cyclists.
do we?
We're definitely not.
You won't see us out every Sunday, on the bikes, but we decided we wanted to set a world record because it's a good way to garner interest and raise money for charity. So we were raising some money for a charity that partners with our work, and the race. Do you want to talk about the race actually?
Sure. So the record was the most countries visited in 24 hours by bicycle. I'd attempted the record previously in 2013 and it wasn't successful, which I'll talk about at a different time. But this time I spoke to Tom and said, I tried to break this record, would you like to try and break it again with me? What it involves is trying to cycle 7 countries, 300 miles, starting in Poland, then going to the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, Austria, Slovenia, and Croatia in one day. North to south or south to north, continuous cycling for 24 hours. And then we'll get the Guinness World Record. And I told Tom about it and he's like, that's amazing, cool, we're not cyclists, but let's give it a go. So a lot of planning, a lot of the legwork had already been done for when I'd attempted it previously and didn't finish. But then Tom came along this time, 100% more prepared, we trained for it, the equipment was better, we had a really good support team with us, and everything just came together and we broke the world record together.
Do you want to be the details guy?
I'll try and be
He's
brief.
going to be the details
So
guy.
the Greenland expedition is in the region of 400 miles, walking unsupported, unassisted up the east, then the northeast coastline of Greenland through an area called the Storning Alps, putting all our supplies with us in a polk. There's 3 of us, me and Tom are going to be the primary adventurers, with Hamish recording us the entire way as a documentary.
Who's a better adventurer?
He's probably a better adventurous than us.
That's why I'm hiding behind the camera.
Yeah. So he's going to be recording our photography and filming the entire thing as we try and make a climate documentary about the whole thing.
As like the shortest rundown possible, it's 400 miles, which will break an endurance world record for me travelling on a snowboard, trying to climb 2 mountains that have never been climbed before, and using the whole trip and what we've learned as a vehicle to try and explain to people that the threats posed by climate change are genuinely our opportunity to unite as friends, communities, as consumers and suppliers, and as voters and governments. So that's it in a nutshell, really.
Mm-hmm.